And I welcome the opportunity to address the House on this important topic and to respond to some of the baseless accusations which have been set out by Sinn Féin in their motion this evening. I note that many deputies here have focused on the provision of secure mobile phone storage as if it were the only singular measure delivered in the budget. So let's just take a look at what this budget and previous budgets provided for and have delivered in terms of value for money and investment in quality education. Over the course of this government, we have now extended the free school book scheme to students from junior infants right through to 6th year, bringing more than 940,000 students into this scheme and saving parents thousands of euros across the course of their child's education. We have also increased capitation, also referenced by the deputies here this evening. Capitation, the core funding grant provided to schools to meet day-to-day running costs. We've increased it by €75 million, bringing it to a record level of over €300 million for our schools, 12% above the previous capitation peak. We've also increased the allocation of special needs assistance, also referenced by deputies here this evening, and special education numbers by more than 1,000 in every single budget introduced over the last 4 years. This year, we have made provision for more than 1,600 additional SNAs and 768 special education teachers, so that now there are more than 40,000 full-time education professionals working with students with special educational needs. And as those who work in education, be they teachers or otherwise, they should be there to teach and not to be phone police. And so when I hear Sinn Féin lambaste the wasteful spending of public funds by this government, I wonder exactly which part of the education budget would you like to cut, deputies? Would you like to cut the number of excellent teachers and education staff across the country, staff who ensure that Irish students remain amongst the highest performing students in the world when it comes to literacy and numeracy? Or would Sinn Féin seek to reduce the record budget of €2.9 billion that has been allocated to special education, now supporting nearly 4,000 special classes across the country? Or would Sinn Féin cut Ireland's school building programme, which last year invested in excess of €1.2 billion into Irish schools and which has delivered over 1,200 school building projects in the last number of years? And to cite just a few examples of those building projects. There is Sculveragon Small in Blarney, County Cork, a new post-primary school with accommodation for 1,000 pupils, including 4 new classrooms for special education. That was commenced in August of 23 and finished in February of 24 at a total investment of €31.5 million. Mercy Secondary School, Kilbeggan, County Westmeath, a new 8,000 square metre post-primary school building, providing accommodation for over 650 pupils, and it includes both general and specialist teaching facilities, 4 classrooms for children with special education needs and all associated ancillary accommodation. That project was completed in August of 23 with an investment of over €20 million. And in my own constituency, I recently opened Gael Colosh de Curie, a 600 pupil post-primary school completed in March of 23 at a cost of over €20 million. Now, I do want to be clear. I never want to say that public expenditure should be allowed to just happen without strong oversight and checks. And to this end, it is appropriate and important that the Controller and Auditor General reviews and supervises expenditure. Clearly, there is no defence for the astronomical amounts that have been spent on the security hut in the Department of Finance, nor on the bike shed shelter at Leinster House. There needs to be a fundamental review of how these projects unfolded and how costs reached these levels. And we do need full transparency over how public monies are allocated. But finally, I do want to specifically address Sinn Féin's call on the government to halt our investment in smartphone bans across the country. In the first instance, I hope they've sent a copy of their motion to their colleagues in Northern Ireland, because the Northern Ireland Executive has already allocated funding to pilot lockable smartphone pouches in schools in Northern Ireland at an average cost of £25,000 per school. I presume these colleagues have seen the same research as I have from bodies such as the United Nations educational and scientific organisation which highlighted how even one ping from a smartphone can distract a student for up to 20 minutes. Or maybe they have spoken to the school principals that I have spoken with, who describe the transformative impact that the introduction of smartphone storage has had for their schools. Principals who highlight the better learning outcomes, the chatter that now fills break times and lunch times, and the space that is created for extracurricular activity. The investment in lockable smartphone pouches is an outcome that will protect our young people. And surely Sinn Féin wouldn't want any additional cost being levied on parents or for any students to be excluded for want of funding. And that is why government has decided to provide this funding at a cost of approximately €20 per student to more than 720 schools across the country. These pouches will be owned by the schools and reused again and again. The investment in lockable smartphone pouches is an investment in our young people. It will enhance their learning outcomes. It is, in effect, a child protection measure. And I'm wondering, are Sinn Féin addressing me now to say that they object to a child protection measure in our schools? I wonder. I formally move amendment number 1.
Thank you, Minister.